I say on the flip side, the question is, how did we get to this point to begin with? Because before there was a Donald Trump, I don't remember, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and I've asked other people. I don't remember a time where America had 10 million, 20 million people pouring from the south of the border. So immigration is always an issue, but
Always.
it got out of control under the Biden administration. It got out of control. And again, going back to Barack Obama, obviously we have a certain level of correction that we gonna do. Even with the great Barack Obama, there's a certain level of correction when it comes to people sneaking into the country. He gonna get you out, and he did. So I'm just like, it's nothing new as far as the Trump administration dealing with immigration. Just the mere fact of them dealing with immigration, not necessarily how they're doing it. To your point, I agree, but some people are mad that they're dealing with it as if it's something new. And I'm like, it's not new. It's not anything new. Also, I'm like, what do you think happens when you absorb that many people? They come into
Yeah,
the same
resources.
neighborhoods that we're complaining. We're complaining we don't have resources. Chicago, to me, Brandon Johnson is a mess, in my opinion.
Hold up now. You ain't gonna be talking about my Brandon now. You get off my Brandon, brother. You ain't gonna be messing with my
Okay.
mayor.
Okay. All right.
Get
So
off my mayor,
so,
bruh.
so here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know what? You know what? Here's the thing. This is just from my observation. So I would say
Yeah.
that I don't know how you, and this is from Chicago citizens. You know what I'm saying? So right now in Chicago, and I want to get to the Somalians in Minnesota because that's a great point. I just did a video on that recently. But
No,
Chicago,
we get back to them. We get back to them.
so let's
That's
talk
we
about
on
Chicago.
Chicago
You're,
now.
you're in
Yeah.
Chicago, so you know what? Here's the thing that I find interesting, and you can just tell me after I lay these points out. So Chicago, for one, as a city, has not been balanced for a long time. The deficit is $1 billion. It's kind of crazy. Now, Illinois is struggling, so now they've raised property taxes about 34 to 40% from what I understand. In certain towns it's went up 40%, 50%, right? Then right, so property taxes are up.
No, go higher, bro.
It's more than that.
That 40%. Yeah, that's a low ball, bro.
That's a low ball. There you go. So 60%, whatever. The property taxes have gone up more than 50% for a lot of people in Chicago. Then you have the fact that he's trying to do a corporate head tax. So he wants to do a corporate head tax, $126 per employee. So they were just talking about Jewel. Everybody, if you in Chicago, you know Jewel Osco is grocery store like Kroger or anywhere,
Yeah.
or if you're out here, ShopRite.
Yeah.
It's the main grocery store. So they were just talking about how that would cost Jewel like $7 million just to employ people. So now let's look at this. Chicago is not like the services have gotten better, and then we argue. I had a conversation with someone about the crime in Chicago, and everybody's trying to be like, well, crime is down, and they were hitting you with this. Well, Alabama has higher crime, and Memphis, Tennessee has higher crime per capita. I said,
They
cool,
do.
yeah, they look per capita per 100,000 people. Now Chicago, though, what I always tell people, Chicago has 2.7, almost 3 million people, but a lot of the crime is also concentrated. So you have your governor Pritzker, who goes walking along the lakefront at 6 a.m. talking about how safe Chicago is. Right? It's so safe. But what do I see? I see
Don't
someone
get me started on that dude.
putting a hatchet. They put a hatchet through the Rolex store on Michigan Avenue. I see the shooting in front of Chicago Theater. When I see the Foot Locker ransacked on 35th. Like my thing is that, and I'm gonna land my plane here. My thing is
It's
that
true. No, keep going, bro. It's
I
good.
think you look at crime. To me, people can talk about, oh yeah, crime is down from 2023. Cool, all that's cool. But at the end of the day, to me, you look at where crime is happening. So for me, I haven't lived in Chicago in 20 years, but I remember being everywhere downtown was not a place you worried about getting shot. Downtown wasn't a place where people brought a hatchet and broke into the store on Michigan Avenue or State Street. That was not happening 20 years ago. Like downtown, if you in the Wild Hunters, you in K Town or whatever, in any Inglewood, if you in certain neighborhoods, we all know the certain neighborhoods that are worse than others. So shit might go down, right? But
Period.
no one is thinking, oh, I'm on Michigan Avenue. No one's thinking I'm on State or Wabash and I'm gonna get shot. It just wasn't something that came into my mind. So my thing is that if crime is better or if crime is down and it's safer, why are things happening where they're happening? If and it's just an example, if the city is being run correctly, why the deficit, and why are you now trying to, rather than attracting businesses, you're trying to make businesses pay just to exist from a corporate head tax, and he's getting a lot of pushback. So
So
and
let me
then
jump in here, brother.
and to top it off, the cherry on
Oh, don't
top,
put the cherry on.
the
Don't put the
reason why you
cherry on.
got the Chicago flips red is because you also have all the money, and Brandon Johnson, um he testified to how much money that was spent on migrants. He testified. And it was around, my math might be off, but it's somewhere between $600 million or something like that.
No,
I could
no,
be off,
no. Your
but
math is off by maybe 2 million, bro. No, I think it was. I want to say. I think I could be wrong. Let me look it up real quick. But I think the number was 487.
okay. Well, we'll take that. So you have people saying, okay, you spent money, and this ties back to immigration, right? So you spent money on people who snuck over here, yet you're going to raise my taxes 60 to 70% now because you need more money.
No,
If
you were
I
right.
if
638.
How much was it?
638.
638 million. Yes. So because I remember he testified, and so did Eric Adams, about New York. They spent 800 million in New York. Um, Brandon Johnson tried to pretend like he didn't know the number because they were asking him.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at them. Them rude idiots, especially that little idiotic brother up there sitting in a whatever he was sitting in
Byron
Congress.
Donalds.
Hmm?
Byron Donalds.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
but here's the point. The point
Okay,
at the end of
Mark.
the day is that, here's the thing. At the end of the day, the money is, those are resources that got spent, and then we now go into the budget for the next fiscal year, and who has to pay for that? The citizens. So
Yeah,
I'm like, how can you not be mad and then you want to go march about immigration? It's just a weird thing, and then we blame it all on Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't not managing Chicago. So
yeah.
you tell me your point of view.
So it's a few things. One, and I think one of the things that people don't like Brandon Johnson is because he's probably the blackest mayor this city has had who is pro-black and pro-black people.
Hmm.
Now, people say he's not pro-black because, again, of the migrant situation. So where he gets no sympathy from me, when you run for mayor, hey, you got to eat it, dog. It don't matter who was just like Trump. Always want to blame Biden or Obama for something. Like, nah, bro, you took the office. It's your show now. You can't talk about what other folks did, right? He can't talk about what Mayor Lightfoot did. I will
Right.
acknowledge this. When Brandon Johnson took office, there were migrants living in police stations,
Hmm.
going traveling back and forth to work every day, passing two police stations. I saw it. They were outside, inside, some of the worst conditions, put our police officers in harm's way. Thankfully, nothing ever happened to a police officer in those spaces. He had to clean that up. So it was either ship them back to what, Mexico or Venezuela? They came, they traveled, right? So where are you going to send them? It's either ship them, spend money shipping them back, or do something to get them out of police stations so police officers can get back to doing their jobs of policing and not babysitting. He had to take action and do something about that, right?
Hmm.
That's clear. The second piece about when we talk about the city budget and the financing, I think you're spot on. Chicago's been in a deficit since Daley was in office.
Right.
That's why taxes and things keep getting high. I was looking at my water bill 2004, $68. My water bill is almost 190 a month.
Wow. Yeah.
And when they put the meters here, it could jump $500. My sister-in-law's meter, when they put the meters in, her water bill jumped from like $70 to like 600.
Jeez.
when they put the meters in. So it's easy to talk about 638 million that was spent on migrants. And when black people come out complaining about it, my question is, well, where were you before this money got spent? Where were you asking, where's your need? What do you need money for?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the ultimate question I would ask. And I'm not saying that this money should have went to them. I don't know where the money came from. Did the money come from the government? Doubtful. The money came from Chicago taxpayers. Then yeah, he owes a burden to Chicago. That's things he's got to answer for, right? I think the thing is, Brandon Johnson is so intelligent, and he's telling people and he's telling reporters, I'm doing everything within my power that the citizens of Chicago have empowered me to do, just like they empowered every other mayor. Rahm Emanuel was a snake. Mayor Daley, when he shut down the projects, these folks knew what they were doing, man.
Mm-hmm.
They knew what they were doing. So it's easier to talk about, oh man, they put the migrants in the black communities. That did happen. But let's talk about the landlords. The building that they raided, I used to live in, bro, at 7500 South Shore Drive, where they had the helicopters drop down.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in that building, right? And I'm just gonna say this: that building was dope back in the day. I don't know what it is now. Just want to name that. I wasn't living in no slum, bro. That's all I'm saying. But
yeah,
I say that to say,
yeah, I know that area very well.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's talking about. They could only put migrants where landlords were willing to take them in.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about some of that 638 million that got spent, if they were giving some of these dudes, these landlords, 13,000, not for an apartment, if they were giving them actually 13,000 per head or 8,000 per head, these cats raked in the dough.
Yeah, sure.
So it's easy to talk about them being in our communities versus the people who own the property in the South Shore area, which is either predominantly Asian owned, or it's either Asian owned or it's white owned.
Right.
So they took the money. They took the money grab. When problems and complaints about that building started escalating, that's when the raid happened. Because them folks had been there for a minute. That's when the raid happened. Because a judge had some injunctions against the property owner and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? So they housed them. When we talk about, it's easier to talk about the $638.7 million. It's harder to talk about the $1.14 billion that Chicago taxpayers have paid out between 2008 and 2024 for police brutality.